of the United States has been shot.
8 vantage points.
You saw the shooter.
I saw something.
I saw something too. 1 truth.
Stop.
Rewind that.
Oh my God.
What did he say?
What have you done?
We're shutting the city down.
This can't be happening. There's no 20 on the president.
Where is he?
There's something else going on here.
Vantage point.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for OtakuGamingHD. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, lists, rankings, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Also, I apologize for any background noise. I do have a fan that I put under my laptop to keep it cool on all the other random stuff out here in the middle of nowhere. But today, OtakuGamingHD sent in a request for me to talk about Vantage Point, which this is a film I have always enjoyed. I thought it was a bit underrated. I mean, when it came out, it did decent box office because it did not cost much. Maybe 20-30 million, and it made around 70 million in the US, and it made, I think, over 100 million worldwide. And on the flip side, the critics destroyed this film. This is a fantastic trailer, but on the flip side, the trailer gives away a lot of the movie. So if you've never seen the film, sadly, I would say don't watch the trailer, because it will give away a lot of the movie. But at the flip side, it's a very well edited trailer, fantastically edited. I especially love the music that's put into it, which is from the very end of 300. I thought it fit wonderfully with getting you excited to see the movie. Now, this is directed by Pete Travis, which is a name you may recognize, because his name would be on Dredd. Now, off tangent, there's a lot of back and forth as to who really directed Dredd. Pete Travis, his name is on it, but Carl Urban, years later, he said that the writer Alex Garland, who would go on to direct Annihilation and those movies, Ex Machina, Carl Urban said he's the real director and not Pete Travis. I would love Pete Travis to come out and talk about what Carl Urban said, what that means, what really happened, all that jazz. So, again, it might be a Tobe Hooper, Steven Spielberg situation, where I don't know. But at the same time, I could buy Pete Travis doing something to make that as great of a movie as Dredd is. Because again, I think this is a pretty damn solid thriller. Now, what makes the film work, number one, is the cast. It's a fantastic cast. You got the Quaid, Dennis Quaid that is. I'm a big fan of Dennis Quaid. Inner Space, very fun film. Frequency, wonderful movie. If you've never seen Frequency, highly recommend it. I'm not big on the film, but I liked him in Dreamscape. I am a fan of Jaws 3. I think it's actually the best Jaws sequel. Yes, I like Jaws 2, but I do think it's better than Jaws 2. I'll say it. Jaws 2 to me has too many of these boring sailing shots with boring characters. I like Roy Scheider, but the teens suck. I think there's a lot more B-movie fun in Jaws 3. Again, that's just me. But you got Dennis Quaid. And he didn't get to do a whole lot of movies where he was an action guy. This is one of the closest he got to that, because he plays a Secret Service agent watching over the president. Speaking of the president, that is played by William Hurt. May he rest in peace. William Hurt, I remember from Altered States back in the day. I don't know why I stuttered there. Sigourney Weaver is in this for a little bit, but if it's more than 10 minutes, I'd be surprised. She plays someone who works with a news network. Forrest Whitaker, another wonderful actor, which I remember from the film Species. But he's been a lot of stuff. Last King of Scotland, which he won an Oscar for. On many other movies he's done. Matthew Fox, who I like. He was one of the things that I thought made Alex Cross work. Yeah, I know Tyler Perry's the lead, but I think that's the best thing Tyler Perry has done. The one thing I don't like about Alex Cross, it has a lot of bad shaky cam. But I actually thought it was kind of a fun movie for what it is. And I thought Matthew Fox did a good job as the villain in that movie. He plays another Secret Service agent, worked with Dennis Quaid. Forrest Whitaker is a tourist. Let's say William Hurt is the president. You also have Edgar Ramirez. Edgar Ramirez, I remember from the film Deliver Us from Evil. He played the priest who teams up with Eric Bana, the police officer. And I actually really like Deliver Us from Evil. I think that's an underrated... I think it's one of the better exorcism movies because I like them from a cop's point of view. So it made it a bit... not only a bit different, but more up my alley. Where I like you had a little bit of an action flavor to it. And Zoe Saldana's in it for a little bit as a reporter. And there's some of those supporting characters. Bruce McGill, he's the guy who played Jean-Claude Van Damme's boss in Time Cop. He's one of the people working for the president. I think James LaGrosse, I think the star of Phantasm 2 has a bit role in this. Because I believe that was him. Pretty much what the story is, and here's the other reason I like the film other than the cast. It's done in the style of the Kurosawa film Rashomon. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I'm bad with the English language, I'm bad with titles. What that means is an event happens, and then we see each person's point of view of the similar event, which is there's a summit where the presidents don't talk about terrorism, things of that nature. It takes place in Spain. And the president gets shot by an assassin. And so each 20 so minutes, it'll show one person's point of view, rewind back, and then see the same event from another person's point of view. Thus, you get a bit more information, you get a bit more of the plot, because you see it from that person's point of view. So we'll see it from an outsider point of view, which is the Sigourney Weaver and her team in a news van type of... not really van, but it's a little news headquarters near the place. And we see it on the TV screens, what's going on. Then we see it from Dennis Quaid's point of view. Then we see it from the tourist Forrest Whitaker's point of view. We see it from Edgar Ramirez, who plays a local police officer, his point of view. The villain's point of view. And to me, I know a lot of critics hated the film because they thought it was just a gimmick. But I thought it made it a bit different. It's not a gimmick that's used a lot in movies, at least in this aspect. So it still made it feel a bit fresh and a bit unique. And the movie doesn't overstay its welcome because by the time the end credits start, the movie's only an hour and 23 minutes. So it goes by pretty quick. And again, it was cool to see you seeing a similar situation, but to keep seeing it from a different point of view and how they try to link everything up, I thought it was kind of a cool journey for the viewer to take as they're watching the film. Now, there are times where there's a little bit, I think, mess up that they do, because with every 20 minutes you have to recreate the events. For example, there's a bit where, very beginning, Dennis Quaid enters Sigourney Weaver and the news people's place, and he goes, rewind that. Then when we see it from Dennis Quaid's point of view, we don't hear him say rewind that. So that's a little bit mess up in continuity. So I do think that and a few other aspects, little moments, they could have tightened that up a bit, fixed it up a bit. Maybe the, I don't know, script person or continuity person wasn't on duty that day. I think that could have been getting fixed up a bit. The way certain events happen, you're not quite sure on the timing. Like, when this happened, it seemed like it took a lot shorter, but this seemed like it took a bit longer. So there's little nitpicks here and there, which is probably one of the reasons why a lot of people don't do that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it still felt a bit fresh, more fresh than a lot of movies do nowadays. So I appreciate going for that, into that direction. I do appreciate that. And then at the end, when you get, I thought, a pretty cool car chase where Dennis Quaid is going after the bad guys. And there's a bit of shaky cam, but it was a manageable point of shaky cam for me. Like even Alex Cross or the Bourne films, like the Bourne films especially, I think have way worse shaky cam. Here, I could still understand what was going on. It was just, like I said, being a fan of Dennis Quaid, I thought it was well paced. I thought the director handled those action scenes fairly decently. Like I said, it was not boring at all. It was pretty entertaining. Now, because you do it this way, there's not a lot of room for in-depth character development, but you do get enough. I think it's admirable. Because when you're going through a point of view of the situation, how much character development are you really going to get? Because this is more of an action thriller, which I like. I'm a fan of. I'm a sucker for action films. So you do a little bit. Like Forrest Whitaker, he does have a family. He calls once or twice on the phone, and he's trying to. There's this little girl on site that he's trying to keep safe. Dennis Quaid, his character, had protected the president in the past, and he was shot, and he's back, but he's a bit shaky, and it's him trying to get back into the groove again. There is a part of me that would have loved to see the entire movie from Dennis Quaid's point of view, but I like that the big section at the end is from Quaid's point of view, which was nice to see. And it just ended up to be a satisfying movie to watch. I mean, for an hour and 20-some minute movie, it was a good, entertaining action thriller, in my opinion. I don't think it was as dumb as people make it out to be. Yes, it deals with counterterrorism, but at the same time, it didn't harp on the politics too much. It was more about the situation at hand and what's going on with the president. And to get more into spoilers, starting now, spoilers. And this is what I was talking about with the trailer. The trailer gives us away. The trailer gives away that the president that was shot was not really the president. That was a body double, and William Hurt is watching. You can't call, you weren't even supposed to, you're not even there. We're not there. William Hurt's like, well, we're not there. Someone's still shot. Yeah, but they think that's you, and we can't tell people that you weren't there, but I wasn't. But then the bad guys know what's going on, so then they go into where William Hurt actually is and kidnap him. And that's the thing, they give that away in the trailer. That seems like a big point. Another big point they give away in the trailer is that there's a bombing. Because that's supposed to be one of the big points of the film is one thing leads to another. Dennis Quaid sees something, we don't know what he sees. And this is what I like about the film, the way it's done is, as you watch it, especially if you go into this fresh, if you go into this not knowing anything, when the president, or who they think is the president, gets shot, Dennis Quaid, he doesn't know what's going on, he's just doing his Secret Service duty. Forrest Whitaker says, hey, I might have got something on camera. He's looking, he knows there's something. We don't see what it is, but he knows there's something. And then he goes off, tries to warn, and then there's a big explosion. And then sometime later where we finally do see what he saw, and he saw that someone threw in something that could be a bomb. And then we know who that person is, because we followed Edgar Ramirez's character, who might know who some of these bad guys are, because he's, of course, a local cop, he knows the area more. It was an interesting way to leave the audience a bit hanging as to Like at the very beginning when Sigourney Weaver, they'll look in and Dennis Quaid comes in, he's like, rewind that, and he goes, oh my god, he runs off, and then Sigourney Weaver's like, wait, what did he see? And then it kind of freezes, and then rewinds back, then it goes to Dennis Quaid's point of view. And then it's much later where we find out. Like, it's an interesting way to take what in reality probably is this 20-25 minute situation, but to, by doing all the different point of views, expand on it to a feature length running time. Like I said, I thought it was an interesting way to take what could be a typical prison shot, terrorist, and to do something a bit more unique with it. To do something a bit more of a... That's the thing, there's only so many times you can tell the same story. Either you could excite people with the action, or you could really engage people because you've got a great cast, or you could use a device, as people call it, a gimmick. You know what, I'm fine with a gimmick if it works. Groundhog Day is a gimmick, but it works, and it's wonderful comedy. What was that movie? Happy Death Day is a gimmick, but you know what, it was a pretty decent film. There's a lot of movies that are gimmicks. But if it works, it works, and you know, I mean, I must not be alone because it gets like a 6.79 to B. So I'm not the only one that enjoyed this. And like I said, each actor did their job well. Again, there's not a lot of room to have character depth, but because you cast well, because the director kept the pace going pretty fast, it never gets boring. That's the thing. There's never a point that this film is boring. Even though you're seeing the similar event, but because it's a different point of view, because now you get what Forrest Whitaker was doing, what he was seeing, what maybe his point of view, and then how it culminates at the end, it might be convenient, but I kind of get what the director is going for when it gets to the end. Super spoilers, where almost by the end, everyone is met in like this similar area, where Forrest Whitaker chases this little girl who's looking for her mom, and he's trying to chase her, protect her, and she's in the middle of the road, and Forrest Whitaker's trying to save her. And then, while this is going on, Edward Ramirez is following these bad guys and stops one of them. And meanwhile, Dennis Quaid is chasing after other bad guys, and I said spoilers. Last time I'll say that. This is where he finds out Matthew Fox is a turncoat and one of the villains. And then that goes back to one of the nitpicks I had with the film, is that the first time we see Dennis Quaid in Sigourney Weaver's news hub, he says rewind that, but then the second time, when he finds out it's Matthew Fox, he never goes rewind that. I don't know how they screw that up. Hey, Pete Travis, if you ever see this, please feel free to let me know. I would love to know that. But again, that's a nitpick. But it's still something I want to say because it is, you know, valid. Oh, you also have, I forget his name, is it Richard T. Jones? This guy here, he was the guy in Event Horizon. He's the guy in Event Horizon, it's like, you think he's dead, but I'm coming for your ass! I guess people call it the comedic relief in Event Horizon. No, I like him as an actor as well. And again, it's going for political, but doesn't hammer into your head and forget to be escapism entertainment, which should be first and foremost. This movie doesn't forget that, and I can appreciate that the director, first and foremost, just want to have a entertaining action thriller. Now, I forgot this DVD does actually have features. It has a commentary with Pete Travis, a couple little featurettes. I don't know if this film's on Blu-ray. If so, maybe I'll pick it up one day. Produced by Neil H. Moritz, which I think he helped in producing some of the Fast and Furious films. Stuart Baird, the editor, he has edited quite a few films. He even directed some films. I think he directed Star Trek Nemesis and U.S. Marshals, I believe. Like I said, Pete Travis, soon after this, would go on to direct Dredd. Or supposedly direct, because, again, Carl Urban says he didn't. So, again, I would like to know that info. But I would say if the idea... Well, I mean, again... I've already spoiled it, but for those who don't care, if you don't care about spoilers, then watch the trailer. If you don't care about spoilers, watch the trailer, and if the trailer interests you, then give it a watch. I think, like I said, this is a little bit underrated. I think it works well as a thriller. I'm surprised my friend Michael CP, he's a big Dennis Quaid fan. I'm surprised he hasn't seen this yet. Because I'm trying to think of his other films. Like I said, there's not a lot that he got to be a bit of an action guy. Action hero type of guy. And this is like the closest you get to it. I'm trying to think of another movie. I mean, technically maybe like Inner Space or something, but yeah, I think of that more as comedy. But I don't think it was as bad as critics made it out to be. I really don't. It's not intelligent. I don't know. It was intelligent enough for me. Other than the nitpicks because of the repeated time frame, some of the timing might not be the best. Wait, when this did, it seemed like it was a bit longer. Like the car chase is pretty lengthy car chase. And I'm not sure if that works timing-wise with some of the other events, but at the same time, it was a very fun car chase, and it was going downstairs and swerving through these narrow roads, and Dennis Quaid didn't hit this way or didn't hit this way, and it was definitely an exciting way, exciting finale. And as superficial as it is, one of the reasons I liked it is because I think it's a good showcase for Dennis Quaid. Performance-wise and action-wise. It's not fisticuffs-wise, but he gets a little bit of gunplay, a little bit of that, so sometimes that's all it can take for me. Like if I like a lead guy, it's great to see him get a chance to shine like that. Plus a good support around him and a quick pace. Again, doesn't overstay his welcome. Hour and 20-some minutes. Vantage Point, fuck it, I'll say it's underrated. I don't care. You like that, but you don't like this other movie? Yeah. I said it, because I meant it. But if you don't like the film, to each their own. I do think, though, this is definitely worth a watch. For anyone who, like I say, is into Dennis Quaid. Like I say, it's... I like the gimmick. I like the way it was done. It just made it seem at least a bit more fresh and different compared to the gluttony of other thrillers, action thrillers out there. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.